Well, let's speak further then about these new data as well as billing rules. Bring into the conversation technology researcher Yamkela Spengani. Good to have you on the program this evening, Yamkela. So are these new rules then a game changer? Are they, for instance, going to help to put money back into the pockets of consumers?
Good evening and good evening to the viewers at home. Definitely a game changer for the viewers because we are moving into a territory where now you are no longer going to have what mobile network operators would call breakage revenue. Breakage revenue is classified as revenue wherein they make money from you not using your bundles, either because they expired before you use them or then you move into out of bundle charges in a silent way. You were using X amount of bundles that you had purchased and they run out mid whatever you are doing. And then you use out of bundle rates that are much higher than you would have if you had purchased new bundles. And this then puts money back into high data users, high call volume users, because this is now meant to notify users timelessly to say, you have 80%, you have 50%, you have 20% of your bundles still left, and when you are run out, it also then states that they can't just automatically move you to out of bundle usage, for instance. So this now starts to bring savings to consumers who would otherwise have lost this, and the introduction of rollover as well is saying that data bundles should not just expire without having been rolled over at least once for free if they have not been used, saving consumers money who would have otherwise had to renew or buy new bundles at the end of the first fixed period of, say, more than 7 days. So now, for instance, if you have 30-day bundles and they were due to expire after 30 days, the new regulation is saying that they must at least roll over once for another period of 30 days before they expire. So you don't necessarily need to use them within the first fixed period if this law is going to not be challenged and go through as it is at the beginning of 2027.
How was it ever sensible, reasonable, perhaps even legal for a company to basically sell you a product and before you've used it up, basically take it away from you, forcing you to reload or buy more data in this instance? Why was that allowed to happen in the first place?
Well, the validity of this is based on there's a stipulated time frame that you and the mobile network operator agree upon. So if I'm buying, for instance, an arbitrary amount of 5 gigabytes of data and I say that I will use it in 30 days, I have an agreement of sorts that I then enter into to say I'm buying X amount of data. They will be valid for this period of time, after which they won't be valid. And how they then did it, the mobile network operators, that is that the shorter your data bundles, the cheaper they would make them be. So if you wanted a long period of time for them to be able to keep you, say, on a 5 gigabyte of 30 days versus 7 days versus a day, it will have a cascading effect of it being cheaper because you are buying it for a shorter period of time. So that's where the legality is, in that you are not forced to buy in perpetuity. I think rollover is with contractors or contract subscriptions wherein you are entitled to an X amount of rollover. But for prepaid, there were fixed periods after which this would then expire based on whether it was a 30-day data bundle, a 60-day data bundle, and so on.
So will this change then? I know they've got a year, the operators, to implement these changes in the billing. But do you expect that these changes, if they're not challenged at least, will affect the profitability of the networks? And on the issue of a potential challenge, do you expect they'll try to block this from going ahead in this one-year window that they've got to implement?
Look, there probably will be pushback from the mobile network operators, because what this does, it also sort of brings a homogenization of how data, voice, SMS is offered. Because then if there are strict prescripts of how it should be done, what we then get is that it will look the same whether you are using a Cell C, a Vodacom, and MTN. If they are all following the same guidelines, there will be no differentiation, and they are going to argue that then this limits them from being able to be competitive and create competition. It sort of keeps them in a certain bracket of maneuvering how they then sell these data bundles, which then impacts on profitability as well. And if these go through unchallenged, it will probably start hampering on what the revenue margins look like, because they do make a lot of money on these unused or out of bundle billings that then take place from people either are not aware that they are out of bundle, or it's an emergency, and they then use out of bundle data, and people who would not have used their data but they have already paid for it up front, because with data you will buy 30 days worth of data up front, and if you do not use it, it's at a loss for you. So that breakage revenue still goes to the mobile network operator, and that's the kind of revenue that they will now no longer be getting in.
Yamkela Spengani, a pleasure to talk to you, technology researcher, talking to us about the changes to data as well as billing. But there's about 12 months for those changes to come into effect around how and when your data expires when you've bought it from any of the large operators.